What's up, everyone? I got another Makita tool review today. This is their cordless multi-tool or oscillating tool. I just picked this up recently, and I'm going to give it a quick first test here on video. I actually haven't really used it yet, and honestly I haven't owned a multi-tool oscillating tool before, so this is my first one. Going to give some first initial impressions and thoughts on it, and just see how it runs through a couple different boards here. I got some OSB sheet as well as just some standard 3/4 inch pine. I did purchase a Bosch just kind of starter kit of some different blades. I think kind of the cost and everything on this wasn't too bad for what you got. So it's got a few different versions, some metal, multi-purpose, kind of some wider ones like this. Also have like a scraper here for like scraping off adhesives, and then like more of a round shaped guide there for different applications, and then just a few more kind of standard thinner ones, kind of all purpose like drywall, and then a couple like wood specific ones as well as metal specific one. So I'll just be running with this wood specific kind of all purpose blade and see how it performs here on this. And kind of nice little Bosch kit too, comes with a little package and all insert in there. And I actually got the scraper one, came separate. I thought it was kind of unique, but it still fits in the pouch there with all the other ones. So we'll see how the Bosch blades do, and then just give some quick thoughts and test on the Makita oscillating tool. So this is their model XT03. This, I believe, is actually their only cordless oscillating tool they make. And I'll give a couple of thoughts on it, I guess. I'm already on the Makita platform, so like for me it makes sense to get this, obviously, just for sticking with the Makita batteries. I'll say it's probably not the best oscillating tool out there, but I think it's really good. Maybe like the new Milwaukee Fuels out, that's probably, you know, above and beyond this, but this is a bit older model, I believe, maybe a few years or something. And in all honesty, I think Makita's kind of due for a update on this, and I'll kind of talk about a couple reasons why I think that. But overall, feels like a nice solid tool. Feels quality like all my other Makita tools I've got, and expect nothing less on this one. So standard on-off switch like most multi-tools. I like the switch like this so it stays on, and then you can kind of control the work you're doing. I think some other models have like a trigger grip here, kind of like a paddle switch on my angle grinder here. So it's good for this. I like it like a safety thing. If you let go, then it turns the angle grinder off. But I don't think that would be as good on this. This is kind of more of like a fine precision tool, doing some more fine detail work. And I like that you can just flick the switch on here and it stays on, and you can kind of go at your work without worrying about you know, letting go of the trigger. Variable speed dial here, 1 through 6, really easy to adjust. Nice positive clicks at each speed. And then it does, right next to it, also have like I think this little LED flashes red, or might stay on red when the battery is low. It's kind of different than other Makita tools where they'll normally have like an actual kind of fuel gauge with 3 bars. When you pull the trigger, it'll show how much juice is left in your battery. This one's kind of lacking on that a little bit. It's just when it's low, it flashes when it's low. But honestly, I don't think it's too big of a concern, because if you just turn it around and click the actual button on your battery, you've got your fuel gauge there regardless. So not really a big negative there, in my opinion. I do like, this is kind of a cool thing Makita does on this, as well as some of their other tools, like I think heavier duty impact wrenches. This battery housing here, or where the battery clips into, is like isolated from the main tool handle itself. You can kind of see that parting line all the way around the grip here, and if you kind of flex that, you can see it's like rubber mounted. It's kind of hard to see over video, but there's a little bit of play in there, and like this battery housing is actually isolated from the tool itself. And I think just with like the vibration these tools create, that's kind of a really smart and cool feature for isolating your battery pack. Obviously the batteries are a little bit more sensitive than some other components on the tool, so it's nice to have that kind of separation or isolation between the battery and the tool. In that harness here, or the battery where the battery clips in, there's some other things Makita does on this tool, as well as common to some other tools that have vibration, is they add some added rubber bumpers in here, like this one on the back, as well as this little rubber roller here. And then they also add these little metal cleats that are heat staked in on the sides, just to kind of reinforce this battery tray. So between those reinforcements, as well as it being isolated with that parting line, and kind of this bottom battery housing being isolated from the tool, I think that's some kind of smart engineering there. What it's kind of lacking on here, or I guess I'll go over this. So the tool change is nice and simple. You pull the front lever up all the way vertical like that, and then this little piece and the I guess you call it the chuck comes out, and then your blade can pop right on. And I think kind of just like any other multi-tool, you can do it at different angles. You can see all your little, I guess, button teeth on there that coincide with your alignment holes in your blade, so you can put it at whichever angle is best for you or what you're working on. So you might do it straight if you're doing like a plunge cut into drywall for like an outlet or something, versus if you were like kind of cutting like this, you can put it on there at an angle like this, or even 90 degrees, and kind of make it a little bit easier for you, or whatever. Maybe you're into a corner and you got to get that tool or blade up into the corner, you can do it on an angle, or whatever's going to work best for you. I'm going to kind of just do it in this position here and see how it works, and we might have to adjust it. But so you put your blade on, put that pin back into the chuck, and then just fold that lever back down, and your blade's locked on. So tool change, quick and easy, no pain, no separate tool to unscrew or anything. So I do like that. What I don't like on this tool is we're missing a LED light on the front. I know some other multi-tools or oscillating tools do have that, so it's missing here. And I wouldn't be too bummed about it, other than I think like this specific application, I feel like a LED light up front is it would be pretty nice to have. You might be in a tight corner or something, or cutting it out. You might not have electricity on for whatever, you're working on an outlet box, and I think it would be really nice to have that lighting feature. So that's one thing. The other thing is, this is still a brushed motor model tool from Makita. I would like to see him come out with a new model that is brushless with the LED light, as well as maybe just slim it up a little bit. This feels like a very solid tool, very robust, but it's just in the grip. It's not really bad, but it just feels, for like a multi-tool of doing small project tasks with it, it feels a little large and beefy for that. Like if it was, the angle grinder, I like that this is big. Even the grip on this is more slim, but like the tool overall, like I feel like an angle grinder, heavier duty application, I'm cool with it being larger and beefier, even though this one is still a brushless motor. So you can see, maybe the advantage you could get with the brushless motor is your grip region could potentially be a little bit slimmer on your oscillating tool, as well as pull some weight out of this. This is, I don't know what the exact weight is, but it's fairly chunky, I'd say. Maybe I'm being critical here. It is my first oscillating tool. I haven't really had hands on other ones, but just of watching some other reviews, I think that's kind of the main points on it. So really, LED light, and like to see brushless motor and kind of slim it up a little bit if they came out with a new model. But other than that, I think based on some things I've read and watched, this is very competitive across all the other oscillating tools. And if you're like me and you're already on the Makita battery platform, it just makes sense to do it. And based on my experience with all my other Makita tools, I don't expect to be let down on this in terms of reliability and robustness and just being a good tool. It's just those couple minor points, like I said, like the LED light. And I don't see it being an issue with the brush motor, but almost all my other Makita tools, the angle grinder, drills, router, reciprocating saw, circular saw, those are all brushless motors. And I think by now Makita would refresh their line on this and come out with a brushless to match their other tools as well. So that's kind of my thoughts, but I can't complain too much, because at the same time I picked this up on a pretty good deal, I think at Home Depot, kind of like holiday savings deal, and for the price of what this is, like, and probably how good of a tool it really is for that price, I really can't complain too much. So that's kind of my overall thoughts on it. I'm gonna go ahead and just make a couple cuts here and see how it does, and we'll see any thoughts that add to that. So my hearing protection on, I'm gonna probably just go, I don't know, it goes up to speed 6 on the dial. Maybe I'll just run it at 5 and see what happens. We'll turn it on here. I'm gonna do a couple, I think, plunge cuts into this pine board to kind of see if I can cut a square out. And then on this OSB, I might just try to take like a notch out of it or something and see just kind of how it feels. So let's go ahead. If I got all the way through on that. What I will say is it seems to cut. Yeah, see, I didn't really make it quite all the way through, but I'll say between the tool and maybe, obviously the blade quality too, it cuts through this like butter. I'm putting like no real heavy pressure on it, just kind of letting the tool do the work and dive in. And that's kind of doing plunge cuts like this and kind of intricate work like that, I think is what these multi-tools or oscillating tools kind of excel at and are really good for. So I'm going to go ahead and clamp this a little different and see if I can make it all the way through there. But I would say it's I'm impressed so far between both the tool and the Bosch blade. I'm actually going to grab some eye protection and see if I can make it all the way through here. Yeah, so just like that, cut a square hole, plunge cut right through it. Like I said, between the tool and the Bosch blade, that's like it's effortless to do something like this. So I can see just being you know, this type of tool for doing things like this can be very valuable across a lot of different applications of putting in maybe like post build like outlet boxes. You know, you want to cut a nice square hole in the drywall or to put that box in, or fish a wire through, or anything like that. I think this is a really good for. I'm going to see just how it does in this OSB too. I don't think there's going to be an issue. I'm going to do a little bit different cut and kind of come in maybe this way and try to cut this corner out and just, I don't know, messing around, see how it performs. But yeah, I think too, the blade's good. It seems pretty good. But also, I know there's like, between different oscillating tools, there's a different amount of, I guess, oscillation degrees here, overall degree that the blade actually oscillates back and forth. If I remember correctly, this one's kind of mid or towards the higher end of how much it actually oscillates back and forth, and I think that gains some performance in cutting versus some others that have less, and they don't, you know, it's, you got to put a little more pressure. They don't cut quite as quickly through material, so it seems to be doing really good with that. So yeah, so I'm going to try to just cut this corner out, see what it does, and we'll go from there. I'm actually going to change the blade angle a little bit for this one. Probably go a little like straight on. We'll keep it at 5. It seems pretty good. And really the comment on the vibration I'm feeling in my hands actually isn't too bad at all. I am wearing work clothes out here in the garage. It's a little chilly, but I was expecting more feedback through my hands. I could see like using it for long periods it might be more of an issue, but just for doing quick cuts like this, it's not really bugging me too much at all. So let's give this a try here. Yeah, again, even with the OSB, I was expecting it to not cut through this quite as good, just with the different layers of, you know, chips and wood chips in here and the glue. But even with this, I mean, you know, maybe it's a bit of attesting to the blade, but it cuts through this like butter. Like I said, this is my first oscillating tool I've owned, and been getting into some projects where I thought this was going to be good to use. I was not expecting it to cut that good. I was, you know, didn't know how well these worked. Watched some videos on them, and you can't always tell through a video, you know, watching the reviews, but this thing cuts like butter. And you know, maybe I take back some of my other comments of, you know, looking for him to come out with a newer model. I'd still like to see the light and brushless, but I mean, this thing works fantastic. I'm gonna do another cut here, and maybe go a little, do like a plunge cut through this and come in straight through there again. I didn't finish the cut all the way there, that's why it broke, but I mean, coming in plunge cut and also cutting from the side, this thing just cuts like butter. It doesn't doesn't bog down the motor at all. Blade's cutting great, the Bosch blade. That's the wood version. I also, you got all your other different styles, metal, tile, adhesive. I thought this one was going to be unique to kind of use in some things you might have, some maybe like construction glue or something, or adhesive that you might have to scrape off a surface, and this is kind of just like a blade. There's no actual teeth on it, but to kind of scrape across. I thought that was going to be cool, so I'm hoping to get to use some of these across some other projects coming up soon on some things around my house, and as well as things I'm working on in the garage. But just first impressions of my first oscillating tool, I think this thing's just standing up to how much I like all my other Makita tools on this platform. Cuts great, actually feels great in the hand. I like some, besides the LED light, and I'd be interested in the brushless model. The price on this, can't really beat the deal you can get on this. It's across, still on your Makita battery platform. And really, I complained about like how beefy it felt, but after running it some, I kind of take that back. Like, this feels really good in the hand, and it feels really quality and solid. So although it's kind of beefy, I feel like it's just like built really good, built really solid, and can see this being like an extremely long lasting, durable tool that's gonna take the abuse from anything you're working on, getting beat up, and just long-term use. So I'm excited to get some more projects on this. The other thing that I already talked about that I really like is how this battery tray, where battery clips in, is isolated from the tool. You can see it moves there, and that just kind of stops the vibrations of the oscillation of the motor up here from making it to the battery. I think that's a really cool thing that they engineered in there. So really, I think that's all I can think about on it right now. Like I said, first impressions, just pulled it out of the box, so these are my first few cuts, seeing how it works. And like I said, maybe I'll do kind of, after I do some more projects with it, a little like more long-term update and see how it holds up. But just kind of looking over it here and the different build quality aspects and the way it's molded, and the chuck housing here, and the blade change, like everything on this is just built very solid. It almost seems like overbuilt. Like it's just feels like it's gonna last a long time and hold up to the abuse. So that's all I got on this one today. Appreciate anyone watching these videos. I got some other Makita tools I might be doing some reviews on, and other projects in the garage, so appreciate anyone watching the videos. I'd appreciate if anybody subscribes and likes the videos. That's going to help me out too. And thanks for watching. Take it easy.